this article, you mentioned the constant focus that businesses have in retaining their most profitable customers and winning back customers who have a high second lifetime value. What do you mean exactly by high second lifetime value?
Okay. The concept of first lifetime value and second lifetime value break into the two areas. When I acquire a customer for the first time, they will do business with me for some period of time, 3 months, a year, 3 years, and I'm going to try to maximize their value through upsell and cross-sell programs. And over some period of time, at some event will happen. Either they will migrate away, they'll be pushed away, they'll be pulled away, and the relationship will end. Then the marketer is faced with, how do I win that customer back? And when I win them back, will I be able to generate a second lifetime value? Meaning the second time we start the relationship anew, what will be that lifetime value? So there's a really great book done by Al Lowenstein called Customer Win Back. I recommend anybody trying to deal with the topic of customer win back read this book and take a look, because it explains these concepts in a great deal, and he's a fantastic author on the topic.
In this article, it's all about ROI, which is return on investment. How does a marketer know if they're getting a good return on investment for their client?
All right, well, so the first thing we need to determine is, well, what is the levels of return? What are good levels of return on investment?
Okay.
You start with, well, what's the cost of capital?
Okay.
You know, if I did not spend any risk capital and I just put it in the bank and asked myself, what could I generate from my capital? You say to yourself, in this marketplace, 1, 2, 3, 4% is my return on capital, or my cost to borrow capital could be 4, 5, 6% in this day and age. From a marketer's perspective, what we find is I want no less than 5 to 1, because this is risk capital that we're putting up. Ideally 10 to 1, and anything north of 15 to 1 is a good return on investment from a marketer's perspective. So I think return on investment relates to what is the business willing to accept, what are the growth objectives of the business, and how much of it is about how much profit is generated from the first sale versus the subsequent sale or the lifetime value of the customer relationship.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned customer acquisition, customer retention, and customer win-back. How can a marketer know what's the correct balance of handling all of these three disciplines?
Well, I think, again, it becomes down to a financial modeling exercise. But the first thing you have to ask yourself is, how am I taking my current investments and the asset of my customers and maximizing it? And so we have to begin there by saying to ourselves is, have I left anything on the table? Then the next thing you're asking yourself is, well, what's happening in the marketing environment? We're just coming out of a phase of the marketing process where no matter what you spent, customers weren't buying. That's by definition a recession. We didn't have much growth. Now, there were some segments that were still moving in this recession. They're commodity products, television services, wireless services. But when the economy is slow and money is tight, spending money on acquisition activities is not really the best investment. It's better to try to maximize who my customers are and help them get ready to maximize their return on their prior investments until the economy returns. As the economy is returning, as we have today, now you say to yourself is, okay, I'm maximizing my retention, I'm maximizing my lifetime value. What is my value of win-back? Again, my second lifetime value analysis, and what segment should I be spending effort on? Because generally it is easier to win back a customer than it is to acquire a new customer. And then you now come to ask yourself is, well, what are the business goals? Hey, well, I'm trying to be running this business at 10, 15% growth rate. I can't get that growth rate in revenue from my customer base I have. It's now time to turn to acquisition activities and determine where the investment's going to be made from an acquisition. So a very complicated question, not a very simple answer to it all, but in the end, it's a mathematical analysis. So
marketers need to indeed keep their eye on all three of those disciplines.
Oh, I think they should constantly be asking, what is the balance of my investments simultaneously? You have to be looking at all of them. You cannot just be narrow focused, because the marketer is a servicing organization of the top line revenue growth of the business as well as the profitability of the business.